Okay, huge fan. How do you afford so many plants? What do you do for work? Okay, so I feel like I'm comfortable to share this with all of y'all now. So a few days ago on Instagram, I asked you guys to submit your questions, and so we're here today, and I'm just gonna answer those questions in this video. Okay, so let's start out with one that a lot of people ask. What are your wish list plants? So I do want to do a longer video because honestly, there's so many, but I'll just say 3 now. So the first one is kind of unattainable, I think, but it's the Anthurium red crystallinum. There's just something about when the leaves come out, they're just red, like bright red, and even when they fade to green, you could still see like the red venation, and I just need it. The second one is the Philodendron Red Anderson. Wow, 2 red plants. I have yet to see, a specimen that I like. It looks to me that it follows a lot of like the Philodendron Pink Princess kind of pattern when it comes to the variegation. And the third one is the Hoya Argentine Princess. But man, oh my god, this Hoya is crazy. And so yeah, those are my current tops right now. Why are you switching a lot of your plants to soil? How do you find they transition from LECA or pond? So the first part of this question, I get this question a lot, just because, like in the past, I was like the LECA person. I had like 99% of my collection in LECA. Obviously, I want to like grow and learn and like see how plants really grew in my environment in different mediums. So currently, I think I have like a third. Like a third of my plants are in pond, a third of my plants are in LECA, and a third of my plants are in soil or in aeroid mix. I really do still prefer pond and LECA. So I only did that because I want to see how, plants would grow in my care in an aeroid mix, and it's fine. Like they're growing fine, but like I still don't prefer it. So that's the first part of the question. How do you find the transition from LECA to pond? LECA or pond roots don't behave the same way as roots that grew in an aeroid mix. I know a lot of people say they're like water roots, but they're not quite like water roots just because they haven't been submerged completely in water. I always see those roots as being used to growing in environments that have a lot of air around it. So what I found works for me is a very, very, very chunky aeroid mix and just giving it a lot of light, after the transition, just because you are putting the plant in shock. And in order to give, the opportunity for the plant to heal, you need to give it enough sun so the plant can make food for itself. I think people like forget that the plant needs sun to make food for all of the plant, not just foliage growth. It needs it to like build healthy roots as well. So yeah, well-draining aeroid mix and a lot of light, I guess, to sum it up. When do you top off your Hoyas in LECA? Do you keep the water level a third? So recently I haven't been adding additional water in between my nutrient solution changes, but I do still keep it, a third way up the net pot. I do think that you could go less than that. Like if you have those existing wicks in like the net pots or the self-watering pots that I use, then I would just have the nutrient solution touching the wicks. Because like a lot of my Hoyas have a large root system, they are very thirsty. And so I always keep them at the third way up the net pot just because I know that the reservoir is going to be gone in 2 weeks. And this also depends on the Hoya and like what kind of root system it has. I have found there's been some, and like I can't name any off the top of my head, but there's some Hoyas that they're okay with the root system, sitting in the nutrient solution. There's obviously some that don't like it, and I've experienced that as well. I don't really worry about it. Like once I see that like the roots aren't happy, then like I adjust what I do. What's a great rare Hoya to start getting into the expensive ones? I think that's what you're asking. Love your videos. Thank you so much. I would say the fastest one are the Hoya Polyneura outer variegated and the Hoya Polyneura Broguette. Obviously the outer variegated one is very pricey still. I know the price is dropping, but it's still very expensive. So the Broguette, if you like that silvery splashiness, I would definitely recommend it. It seems that it's very consistent in the plant. And I mean, I guess there's like different things people are looking for. So fast grower, ease of care, I would go with any variegated Hoya Polyneura. If we're looking at like what you like, so if you like silvery Hoyas, I would say the Hoya Nova Ghost is one that people recommend. People say that the Nova Ghost grows faster than the Gray Ghost, but in my care, they're both in LECA. they're growing at the same pace, and it's not necessarily fast in my care. If you like sun stressing, like if you really like the Hoya sunrise kind of look, I would say the Hoya species Ganang Gading. And yeah, so there's a few there. I don't know if that answered your question. How many plants do you own? I don't know. I always say like 150. It's hard because like, do you count the propagations? Because I have a lot of propagations. Where did you purchase your strawberry shake? How long have you owned your shake? Okay, I'm pretty sure I got it 2 years. Was it 2 years ago? Hold on, guys. Okay, I'm gonna say 2 years ago. I have a picture. I actually got my philodendron strawberry shake from North Shore Tropicals. I mean, here she is. This is what she looked like. This was the variegation situation with it. You know, when you're looking for a philodendron strawberry shake, you have to pick a plant with good variegation in like the stem or like good genetics in the plant. Just from my experience propagating this plant multiple times, like the variegation does not come back sometimes. So just make sure you mainly look at the stem, look for the light and dark pink stripes, I guess. 3 months after I got the plant, I did start propagating her right away, and it was just like constantly propagating. Okay, huge fan. How do you afford so many plants? What do you do for work? Okay, so I feel like I'm comfortable to share this with all of y'all now. I am a registered nurse. I'm taking a little step back though, and you know, I'm trying to focus on like a lot of my plant stuff, and I'm a bit nervous. Anyways, I'm gonna put out a video about that like in the future. It's still relatively fresh right now, but I used to work full-time as a registered nurse. And I mean, I guess because I was buying plants like spaced out that like I didn't think that it was like a lot of money, but it was a lot of money. And like looking back, I do regret a lot of the purchases because it was a lot of money. What are some plants you would not replace if you lost it? Ooh, we're gonna be shady here. This sounds really bad. Just because I'm downsizing, and I'm saying this for the 100th time. My regular Hoya Polyneura right now is very dehydrated. She's on my coffee table. Okay, let me just grab her. Okay, guys. She is so dehydrated. I don't know if y'all can, and she's dusty. Oh my gosh. If this died, I don't think I would replace her just because I have my 2 other ones. I think because I have a lot of philodendron Jose Bono propagations, I don't think, like, if I lost them all, I don't think I would, like, want to grow that plant again. Beautiful plant, guys. She was in my favorites video, obviously, but, you know, the leaves are kind of big. They take up a lot of space. And then if they all died, I would have room for other plants. And don't hate me, guys. I kind of want to say my philodendron Billietier. I think because they're starting to get really big. I think I have 5. When they start to get big, they really grow out. You know, they do take a lot of space. So I would say the philodendron Billietier, even though I love her. But like, if she died, I'd be like, okay, there's more room. I sound horrible. How have none of your ties rotted? Mine rots every time I transfer it out of water. How? Usually when it comes to water roots, I have no issues transferring those roots into LECA. I generally have good success if I'm transferring Thai constellation water roots into pond, and I've found it the most difficult transferring these roots into soil or an arid mix. Just remember, those roots are used to being really wet, but also having enough oxygenation. So a chunky arid mix would be perfect. You know, pond and LECA, they kind of have that already with the air pockets, but also having the ability to retain water just by osmotic action or whatever it is. And again, guys, give it a lot of light. Do you ever feel burnt out if a lot of your plants aren't doing well? What do you do? In the beginning of my plant journey, I, shared my struggles growing plants. Obviously, this was very new to me. I only started collecting plants around 3 years ago, and so, it was a learning process. And of course, you're going to feel burnt out because you're trying to love this plant and give it what it needs, but it's still not doing well. And it can be frustrating, it can take time, but it's kind of like process of elimination a lot of the time with me. And I mean, it could be a lot of things, like, am I underwatering the plant? Am I overwatering the plant? As a result of the overwatering, is the root system okay? Am I giving this plant enough light? Does it have a pest? Or if it's just one of the older leaves, is this just the normal process of plants dropping leaves? That process might burn out a lot of people. For me, I'm very strange, where the desire to learn and to kind of, succeed with plants really outweighs the burnout. So for me, that wasn't like a time where I would burn out, but I guess the answer to that is just, I usually troubleshoot? Do you sometimes think that one day you'll wake up and be bored or tired of plants? A lot of my friends and family, they ask me this question a lot, and the answer is no. Like, the amount of joy I have growing these plants, I am just so interested, and I've barely scratched the surface. There's only a few plant species that I collect. I want to learn more about orchids. I want to learn more about ferns. I do think the learning aspect of it really just will keep me interested, and just there are millions of species of plants. I don't think I'm gonna lose interest, but never say never. That could happen. Okay, your favorite Hoya. I mean, I just did a favorites video if y'all missed it. The Hoya Polynura outer variegated and the Hoya Polynura Broget. Those are just incredible Hoyas, guys. When did you last visit the Philippines? I'm not sure what the second part of this question means. Endemic Phil plant that you TC of. I'm gonna interpret it as what plant endemic to the Philippines that you love? I don't know. If y'all don't know, I am Filipino. I was just born and raised in Canada, and unfortunately I don't know any Tagalog or anything. It's very hard for me to understand as well. But the last time I visited, and that was the first time I visited, was when I was 12, and I've never been back. The Hoya Cutis porcellana, I'm pretty sure it's endemic to the Philippines. I am in love with that plant. The flowers are so pretty. Is it not okay to remove the yellow leaves early because plant absorb nutrients from dying leaves? True. I know I'm not going to capture them all, but yes, your plant, if you're not giving it enough nutrients in, whatever substrate or the nutrient solution, the plant is able to pull from existing nutrients in the plant and its foliage. But there are only a few mobile nutrients. I'm pretty sure, I'm not entirely sure. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. I think magnesium and sulfur, if I'm remembering correctly, and I know I'm missing a few. Your plant, if it doesn't have it, it'll pull from the older growth and move it up to the active growing growth. And that's why you might see the older leaves yellowing or dying. It could be a sign of nutrient deficiency in the medium. I'm pretty sure calcium is not a mobile nutrient. So if you're seeing, yellowing or chlorotic leaves in the newer growth, it might be related to calcium. Okay, I had a Monstera constellation in LECA for months, and it had root rot. I don't flush and just top up the reservoir. Is that why? I don't flush my Monstera constellation at all. I know people say that it will help with that. I again would say look at how much light you're giving it and maybe give it a little more. Temperature might be a factor as well. I mean, with a rise in temperature, that can facilitate more rot in the roots. You never want a solution or an environment that's too hot, because for bacteria, that's the perfect environment. How do you get all your Hoyas to bloom? Do you just use FloraBloom? There's so many factors when it comes to this. A lot of light, I would say. Also how mature the plant is and if it feels established. Sometimes that's not the case. I've had young Hoyas bloom with just 2 leaves. I've had, Hoyas take a year or 2 to push out their first set of blooms. So it all depends. Nutrient wise, it could be that as well. I do give it more FloraBloom, but I do truly believe light. You need to give it a lot of light. It's not always the case, but a lot of Hoyas grow on cliffs in nature. If you're on a cliff, you're kind of subjected to just straight on sun. How do you make local plant friends? I think it really starts with you and just reaching out initially to someone who's, close by. I do that on Instagram. If I come across a plant person who lives in Toronto or the GTA, I'm more inclined to follow them back. I'm obviously very lucky to be living in a large city. I know it's very difficult for other people. And sometimes the reality is you're not going to have that local community that you want. I have, met a lot of amazing people online that aren't even in Canada. I have a lot of American viewers. So yeah, put yourself out there, reach out to people. Obviously don't push it if they don't if they're not receptive to that. What mix are you fertilizing your plants in pond with and how often? Okay, honestly, I'm very loosey-goosey with this. I use my old LECA nutrient solution. That is my current LECA nutrient solution situation. So whatever I have left over, I always make extra so I could water my plants in pond. But the thing is, guys, I don't water my plants in pond with that nutrient solution all the time. Every in-between watering, I use plain tap water. If I take a plant with pond, water it with the nutrient solution, once that nutrient solution is gone, I just add plain tap water. Once that tap water is gone, I use the nutrient solution, and I kind of follow that pattern. There are moments that I just use the nutrient solution and I don't think about it. There's times that I just use tap water and I don't think about it. Which plants that you've killed that you want to try growing again? I don't think I've ever showed this plant, but in the beginning of my plant journey, I had a philodendron adabapoense, but I tried propagating it. It didn't do well. It did okay in LECA in the beginning, but like I don't know what happened to it. I did kill that, and like I've always thought about growing that plant again, but obviously I'm downsizing. So one day, what got you started as a plant enthusiast? Plants have been around me all my life. My mom just loves plants so much. So I did have two coworkers, Alan and Letitia. They were both into plants at the time, and there's this really cute store that's called Tiny Flower here in Toronto, and we would just go. I would go by myself, I would go with him, I would go with her. It was just like the accumulation of plants and just learning, reading up on them. And then, I mean, the people that, you know, got me interested, also Summer Rain Oaks, Plantarina, Kaylee Ellen, like all those people really like ignited that like interest. Scott, I can't even read this question, it's so funny. Scott grows an avocado tree. Asks, what happens when you put a plant in the microwave? I mean, I'm not gonna try it, Scott. I feel like you should try it. That should be one. Have you experimented on that already on your channel? You should try it. I'm not here to try it. I have no idea. Where do you buy your big clear pots? It looks like they're around 7 inches with a saucer. I get it from Raven Vision Orchid Supplies. It's located in Stratford, Ontario in Canada. So it's ravenvision.ca. That specific pot, let me double check. It is an 8-inch. And I buy the saucers from Amazon. If you could cross any two plants, which would you choose? Do people cross Anthurium warwickwianum with Anthurium forgetii? I guess they just look like crystallinums. Okay, never mind, I take it back. I have been very fond of the Anthurium pterodactyl. I just think it'd be so interesting to have a pterodactyl with another Anthurium. Dream plant and why? I'm gonna have to say the Monstera mint. I cannot with this plant. It is, oh my God. This plant is gorgeous. Okay, why? Oh, that's hard. The look of the leaves of the Monstera in general is just like classic. The way this variegation presents itself, it's just, I don't know. I love it so much. Does your other half love plants as much as you do? No. He doesn't like, well, okay, it's not like he doesn't like them. He has no interest. There's some days he's looking at a syngonium. He's like, is that an Anthurium? Or like, is that a philodendron? I feel like he only knows what like Monsteras are because like obviously the fenestrations are kind of classic, like I said before. What's your coffee setup? Pretty sure it's the Breville BES 870 XL with the espresso bean grinder at the top. I like it so far. I mean, maybe in the future I'll get like a more fancier one. Did you ever have a hard time transplanting mature plants to LECA? Mainly my newer plants in LECA, they came from cuttings and propagations. In the very beginning, I was just transferring mature plants into LECA, and yes, it is very difficult. I've never had a peace lily survive the transition. I don't know if y'all have had luck with that. I know obviously those roots aren't used to LECA, so a lot of them do rot. Again, the key thing for that is to get rid of as much soil or whatever and wash it down with water and also a lot of light as per usual. What's your least favorite plant to grow and why? I kind of want to say for now it's the Queen Anthurium. It's also being so delicate with, you know, the leaf unfurling. It does take a longer time to harden off as well. Y'all know that I use tap water, and my velvet leaf anthuriums aren't particularly a fan of that. That one and the Anthurium waterburyanum, I still haven't had luck with that one. Okay, my friend Sam asked me this question. What's your favorite variegated Monstera? I'm gonna have to say the mint. The mint Monstera is just so beautiful to me. And he also asked, what plant would you be if you turned into one? I want to say Thai constellation. I think I've answered this question in the past, and I've said said strawberry shake, but I think I really want to be a Monstera Thai constellation. What plant death made you the saddest? Mine is my Monstera aurea. Oh my god, I would be devastated. I had the plain Monstera deliciosa and I wish I still had it. She was infested with thrips. Like they were in the soil, they were on the leaves. I treated this so much and like I had no success, and obviously like I was scared that it was gonna spread to the rest of my collection. And it's sad because it didn't die, it was just infested and I just threw it away. Do you always use your nutrient solution to water, or do you alternate with regular watering? So I answered this question about pond. I do alternate. With my plants in LECA, I just change the nutrient solution every time. What's the optimal plant collection size for you? Truly, I feel like I'd be the happiest if I had a smaller collection. I don't know, 50 to 80 plants? Do you know Wild Fern personally? You two are my faves. So much love for both of you. Thank you. I don't know her personally. We're very friendly with each other, and like y'all know that I am obsessed with her. It's an added plus too that she's Canadian. Like I am here to support fellow Canadians, and I don't know, I'm just obsessed. I'm a fan, just like how you're a fan. What's your favorite thin leaf Hoya? I think just because of what the flowers look like, my Hoya danumensis is just so stunning. The leaves are thin. That one though, I find is tricky to grow. You'll have a lot of chlorosis and yellowing of the leaves if you don't like keep on top of like the nutrition. What is your humidity and temperature of your plant room? Love your videos, thank you. Currently, it is 71 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 21 degrees Celsius. And humidity, we're looking at a not 90. Humidity, we're looking at a 59% humidity, and it is currently noon, so the middle of the day. Hi Kevin, what's your favorite season? Winter, spring, summer, or fall? I really enjoy fall. Hands down my favorite season. I like winter, guys. The cold doesn't bug me. Why don't you try pollinating any of your anthuriums to make seeds of a cool hybrid? I do plan to do this now. I was thinking about like new things that I could do with my plants, and because a lot of my anthuriums are becoming very mature, they are pushing out a lot of flowers, and so I thought, do you know what? Why don't you just try it? So I do plan to do that in the future. I don't know when though. How to make a good anthurium collection if you are a student and still want to make a good collection. I find that you could find a lot of baby anthuriums for a reasonable price. The Forgetii is dropping in price. Certain magnificums are low in price. Crystallinum is very common and is dropping in price. I think those are the three. There are a few like non-velvet ones. Like I remember I bought my Decipins as a baby and that one was only $30. And then my Furcatum was the same. I think it was also $30. But they were babies and now they're gigantic. Why don't you sell plants? Your collection is beautiful, but also very big. Can't imagine the work. It's a lot of work. I think I've decided I'm not going to sell any this year. So spring 2023 is the goal. I know I said this last year, so yeah, I don't care, come for me. How many plants did you kill so far? Give us a number. Oh God, more than 30 in the 3 years. Like if the plant like died on its own without me throwing it away first, I think it's around 20 to 30 plants. How to improve my variegata or make it more pink in my pink princess? The pink princess is weird. I do hear that if there's any sort of pink on the stem and you see it, then there's always a potential that it could push a variegated pink leaf. I actually got rid of my pink princess, so I was kind of fed up that you would have a really variegated leaf and then 4 leaves after it'd just be like not a speck at all. If you could choose one genus, what would it be? Oh my God, Grawnya. Why? That is so hard. Okay, my top 3 are gonna have to be, this is hard. I think because I like more Hoyas. Am I a Hoya person? Okay, I think in order to be Hoya, Anthurium, Monstera. I feel like Monstera would be the top, but I feel like I only like the traditional like Monstera Thai Constellation, Monstera Albo, Monstera Aurea, Monstera Mint. And then yeah, I love my Monstera Siltepecana, but like there's not more. And I feel like if there was more of those plants, it would be at the top. Hey, from Tunisia, I have a baby obliqua and I don't want it to live in a terrarium. You don't have to. Also, Ons Japur, tennis player, freaking love her. She is amazing. I don't know if you watch tennis, but like huge fan of her. I have a video out where I grew it in my normal room conditions, and I've been hearing reports that it's actually a relatively easy plant to grow. What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself during the plant journey? Deep question. What once started as a hobby, like I really want to eventually do this for a living, you know, something plant related. Obviously still making content for you guys. I don't know, I am so passionate about plants. Very passionate, and it kind of hit me this year specifically that this is all I want to do. I want to do something plant related. Your thoughts on throwing away a plant that has little chance of growing versus giving it away? I'm totally for that. I think if you know that the plant is like going to die, like if you should give it to a friend or family member or throw it out, I would throw it out. But yeah, if it has little chance, like get rid of it. What is your daily routine, or do you have one? I don't know if I have one. It changes constantly, and obviously because I'm a content creator, I have to, you know, think about what I need to film, and like knowing that and how it links to like plant care, but also knowing like behind the scenes what I don't need to film in regard to plant care. I am a morning person, so I prefer to do most of my work in the morning. I like to wake up early. Usually I'm up by 6 a.m. and that's like the perfect time for me to be awake. I start to lose energy after 4 p.m. and I want to sleep. Okay, I guess that's it. I know there are a few more questions. There are a few other questions I want to elaborate more in like a separate video. Do you guys like Q&As? I get really nervous during Q&As because I'm just kind of, I don't review the questions before often. So I'm like reading them for the first time and then I'm like, I personally believe that I'm boring you guys with this video. So just a question for y'all who have made it to the end. I made a raspberry pie for my boyfriend. He loves raspberries. But what is your favorite pie flavor? I'm gonna have to say strawberry rhubarb. I've made a couple of those. Look at this picture, guys. I love making, I don't love making because it's a lot of work, but I love strawberry rhubarb. And like apple would be a close second because come on guys, apple pie. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it to the very end, thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.